Chapter 118. Participating in the battle. Bad old man, what are you doing? Little Gold was sleeping and was abruptly lifted up by Emperor Dan, immediately showing his teeth at him. After being taught by Emperor Dan during this period of time, Little Jin's speech was finally not so intermittent. But Little Jin's current mind was only equivalent to that of a small child of around 5 or 6 years of age. Little Jin, come here. I have something to tell you. Kangchon pulled over Xiaojin. For Kangchon, Xiaojin was still very obedient and said in a milky voice, "Brother, what is it?" "It's like this." Kangchon then taught Kangchon how to refine the puppet's blood spirit crystals. And although Xiaojin's mind was extremely weak, he was very smart and figured it out in a flash. Thus, Kangchon watched from the sidelines as Xiaojin sacrificed the Dancian demon flame, refined the blood spirit crystal, and finally dripped in a drop of essence blood, and the blood spirit crystal immediately erupted with a piercing light. Kangchon put the refined blood spirit crystal back into the puppet, and then put down the 9 extreme spirit stones in turn. When Kangchon put down the last extreme grade spirit stone, a powerful aura erupted from the puppet's body, instantly sending Kangchon flying out. At the same time, the puppet lying on the ground opened its eyes and scanned the several people in the room with flashes of refined light. Finally standing silently behind Little Gold, coldly scanning the two of them, Emperor Dan and Kangchon. "Little Gold, try it." Kangchon, depressed, all climbed up from outside and said to Xiaojin, "Just now that Yuanying Stage's aura was really powerful, if not for his strong strength. I'm afraid that he would have been injured just now with that hit." "Well." Xiaojin sniffed excitedly and instructed the puppet to do a few things. The puppet did them all one by one, without the slightest denial. Kangchon let out a sigh of relief. Since then, he had a Yuanying Stage fighter. If this was spread out, how awesome it would be. "Kid, an external object is always an external object. This puppet can only be used at critical moments. Normally you are not allowed to use it." Emperor Dan's face was grave as he reminded Kangchon. He was afraid that Kangchon would be confused by the foreign object. "Don't worry, your old man. What I care about is still my own strength. I won't use this puppet until the critical moment, even if it's Little Gold. I rarely let it help," Kangchon said with a straight face. Upon hearing this, Emperor Dan nodded reassuringly, and then brought Little Gold and the puppet into the reverse heavenly cauldron. After dealing with the puppet, Kangchon gathered his emotions and began to sink into cultivation. He wanted to adjust his state. And tomorrow, he would leave Demon Yuan City and head to the imperial capital. However, Kangchon did not cultivate for long before he heard Yun Shuiyao's voice from outside the house. "Big brother Kangchon." Yun Shuiyao shyly looked at Kangchon. "Is something wrong?" Kangchon frowned. If it wasn't for those 3 extreme spirit stones and the water spirit fruit, he was afraid that he would have left Demon Yuan City today. Regarding Yun Shuiru's little heart, it wasn't that Kangchon couldn't see it, but he wouldn't consider emotional matters right now. And even if he did, he wouldn't choose this kind of woman with a deep heart. To say that in this cultivation world, the only woman Kangchon had a good feeling about was the warrior of the 7 warriors of the Great Tang Dynasty. Flower thinking wrong. If he didn't have too many hang-ups in his heart, Kangchon might have engaged in a shocking love affair. "Big brother Kangchon, my father has something to ask you to go over to discuss," Yun Shuiru said in a low voice. It wasn't that she couldn't see Kangchon's rejecting attitude. She was very upset in her heart, but there was nothing she could do about it. "All right, let's go," Kangchon faintly said. "HMM." A trace of resentment flashed in Yun Shuiyao's eyes, biting her lips as she softly said. Kangchon followed her and walked through a long corridor to a courtyard. In the pavilion in the distance, a middle-aged man stood there with his hands behind his back. Yuanying Stage powerhouse. The light in Kangchon's eyes flickered as a reminder from Emperor Dan came to his mind that the middle-aged man in front of him was a Yuanying stage powerhouse. Obviously, this was the Yun family's family head, Yun Baishan. Although the Cloud family head Yun Baishan has stepped into middle age, but a refined atmosphere still survives his dashing figure. Kang Chon can imagine, when this person is young, must also be a great Tang cultivation world of the youthful jungles. No wonder it will spawn Yun's sister, such a stunning beauty. This turns out to be hereditary R. However, what made Kang Chon's heart palpitate was still the powerful aura that unintentionally emanated from Yun Baishan's body. A powerful aura that only a Yuanying stage powerhouse possessed. Kang Chon couldn't help but look serious. The other party was a Yuanying stage powerhouse. He didn't dare to underestimate it. Overlord Kang Chon, this should be our first meeting. Yun Baishan seemed to have eyes growing behind his back as he turned around after Kang Chon's arrival, revealing a hint of a refined smile. What does Senior want with me? Kang Chon was not so fond of beating around the bush and said directly to the point, as he unconsciously scanned Yun Shu Yun at the side and found that she was standing shyly with her head lowered at the side. Sit. Yun Baishan did not rush to reply. Instead he smiled and pointed to Kang Chon to the stone bench on the side and sat down himself with it. Kang Chon wasn't in a hurry either, and after hearing this, he said thank you and sat down with it. This time, the matter of the water spirit fruit, thanks to Overlord's help, our Yun family will not forget. Yun Baishan waited for Kang Chon to sit down and opened his mouth with a faint smile. Senior doesn't have to care. I'm also taking what I need. Kang Chon shook his head. It was impossible to talk about who helped who between him and the Yun family. Although in the Yun family's view, without Kang Chon, not only would they not have been able to obtain the water spirit fruit, the Yun family sisters would have been robbed by the Zhong family, which was undoubtedly a great favor. However, in Kang Chon's view, without the news of the water spirit fruit given by the Yun family sisters, he wouldn't have stepped into the 9 Revolutions realm so quickly, and also possessed the powerful assistance of the Yuanying stage puppet. All in all, both sides owed nothing to anyone, each taking what they needed. Yun Baishan smiled faintly at his words. Undeniable. Although it was just 3 or 2 sentences, he had already roughly felt Kang Chon's temper, so he opened the door and said, "This time, we invited Overlord to come, mainly because we want to ask Overlord to help our Yun family with a favor. And of course, our Yun family won't allow Overlord to do it for nothing." "Oh, what favor?" Kang Chon revealed a hint of surprise when he heard this, but his heart was in deep thought. If it was really a small favor, then there was no harm in helping. After all, this time there was this great encounter. It was also considered to be thanks to the Yun family sisters' blessings. Yun Baishan pondered for a while, seemingly organizing his language, then said, "Does Hegemon know that the workshop market within this Demon Yuan city is jointly managed by the City Lord's mansion, as well as our 3 great families?" Slightly heard of it. Kang Chon nodded his head, but in his heart, he was disdainful. Almost every workshop market within a city is jointly managed by the City Lord's mansion, and a few of the strongest forces in the area. In the end, it's not about whoever has the biggest fist is the boss. The city government, needless to say, on behalf of the official power of the Great Tang Dynasty, they control the market naturally right and proper. However, the so-called strong dragon does not suppress the snake, even if it is the royal family of the Great Tang Kingdom. Also had to put some interests to those powerful families, so there is now the situation of all forces in charge. When I think about it, within that small heavy iron city, there were a lot of interests that were jointly held by the City Lord's office. The Wong family, the Li family, and the Lin family, and the reasons for this were all pretty much the same. Kang Chon was still very clear about this. Just why was this Yun Baishan telling himself about this? It seemed that this was their family matter, and he didn't have half a cent to do with it. Seemingly seeing Kang Chon's doubts, Yun Baishan continued, "Hegemony doesn't know the interests of this workshop market. Apart from the city lord's mansion occupying 50%, each of our 3 families occupies 10%, and the remaining 20% of the interests are apportioned amongst our 3 families. Meeting of martial arts. 3 families will martial arts. Kang Chon couldn't help but be curious. The 3 families martial meeting is when our 3 families conduct a competition every 50 years, and the candidates for the competition are when each of our 3 families find a strong young man under the age of 50 who will duke it out to win or lose, and then distribute the benefits according to the rankings, Yun Baishan explained. Hearing this, Kang Chon, no matter how stupid he was, knew what Yun Baishan was looking for him for, and he couldn't help but wonder. Elder's meaning is for me to participate in the battle instead of your Yun family. Is it just appropriate for me to be an outsider? As Overlord said, Mr. Yun does hope that Overlord can participate in this 3 families meeting for our Yun family. Of course, our Yun family is willing to pay 10 extreme spirit stones as payment. Yun Baishan nodded and smiled. 10 extreme spirit stones. Kang Chon's eyes lit up. Kid, what are you still thinking about? Hurry up and say yes. Just a few brats from those 3 families are no match for you. These 10 extreme spirit stones are simply picked up. No need to think about it. Just say yes. Kang Chon was still in surprise when Dan Huang's anxious voice had already been heard in his mind. Kid, with these 10 extreme grade spirit stones, you will be able to purchase many precious medicinal herbs, so that the old man can also refine some extreme grade pills for you, allowing your cultivation to rise even faster. The Dan Emperor One urged as much as he could. All right, I'll just promise, don't rush your old man, Kang Chon said helplessly in his heart. Truly the Emperor is in a hurry before the eunuch. Even without Emperor Dan's reminder, he wouldn't have given up these 10 extreme spirit stones. Just as Emperor Dan said, winning this competition was simply easy, just based on the Zhong family's Zhong Tianhao and the Shenta family's Shenta Feng. Kang Chon was able to split the 2 of them with a single slash, and he could earn 10 extreme spirit stones so easily, he wouldn't have disagreed with it even if he was stupid. Overlord, consider how. At the time of Kang Chonji in his heart, Yun Baishan's voice came from the opposite side. Late generation has no opinion. When will the match take place? Senior, you can just inform me. Kang Chon gave a dry smile, then immediately said. Yun Baishan immediately revealed a smile. 10 extreme spirit stones could not be compared to the benefits of the workshop market. With Kang Chon participating in the battle on behalf of their Yun family, this time the Yun family was bound to achieve first place. If Senior has no other business beforehand, Senior will take his leave first. After making sure that this agreement was reached, Kang Chon prepared to take his leave. Yun Shuiru on the side couldn't help but look anxiously towards Yun Baishan. But Yun Baishan acted as if he didn't see it and only nodded with a smile, saying, "Please, Overlord." Kang Tion then left. Yun Shuiru on the side didn't see him off, but stayed behind, staring at her father with a pair of wide, beautiful eyes, dissatisfied. "Father, why don't you talk?" To him, Yun Shuiru's eyes were filled with resentment. This time she wanted to ask her father to probe Kang Chon's bottom, to see if she could come together with Kang Chon. She had always had her eyes set high. There was not a single one in this demon Yuan city that she had her eyes on, of course. If that Shentaji was not a madman, she might have considered it. This time, she accidentally met Kang Chon. She did not want to give up her own happiness. But unfortunately, the flowers have the intention, but the water has no love. Looking at his daughter's grim expression, Yun Baishan shook his head with a bitter smile and said, "Ballad child, you are not suitable, really not suitable. There's really no hope at all." Yun Shuiru bit her lips, her eyes misting up as she asked unwillingly. She grew up with a strong personality, and as the Yun family's eldest young lady, she asked herself that no matter if it was her family lineage or her purple color, or even her qualifications, She wasn't inferior to anyone else, so she also had very high requirements for her future husband. This time, it was rare to meet Kangtion, a genius who met her requirements, and she did not want to give up no matter what. Yun Baishan saw his daughter's undying determination and sighed. You are people of two worlds. In a short while, it will be the Heavenly Tao Sect's disciple acceptance ceremony, with his natural talent. Becoming a disciple of the Heavenly Tao Sect is inevitable in the future. The heaven and earth that belongs to him will be the entire flooded continent. We can only witness his growth in the Great Tank. This kind of supreme genius, we can't keep it in our Yun family.